Because of why I search the deep through endless nights, no time to sleep. The call inside I can't deny. I'll find the light because of why.
Hey everyone, and welcome. So when you think of the safest countries in Europe, what comes to mind? Maybe a quiet village in Switzerland? Or the peaceful fjords of Norway? Well, what if I told you that one of Europe's biggest safety success stories is a country you might not expect at all? Today, we're diving into the incredible story of Poland and its amazing journey from a place plagued by crime to a real model of security.
All right, let's kick things off with just one number, 17. What do you think that represents? The number of Michelin star restaurants? The average temperature in July? Seriously, take a guess. It's actually something way more revealing about what it's like to live in Poland right now.
17. That's it. That is the number of robberies for every 100,000 people in Poland. Just let that sink in for a second. Now look at Belgium. That number is 140. In the UK, it's 132. That means you are roughly 8 times more likely to get robbed in the UK than you are in Poland. I mean, that's just incredible, right? The big question is, how did they do it?
To really get what's happening in Poland today, we have to go back in time. Because, believe me, the safe, secure country we're talking about now is a world away from what it was just a couple of decades ago.
Okay, so let's rewind the clock to the 90s and the early 2000s. After communism fell, Poland was going through this incredibly chaotic, messy transformation. And right alongside it came a tidal wave of crime that left a lot of people just living in constant fear.
Get a load of this quote. It's from a report back in 2001. Now, it sounds like some kind of dark satire, but it perfectly captures how afraid people were. It really speaks to a society that felt like the state just couldn't protect them anymore.
It was pretty much the perfect storm. You had these powerful, organized crime groups popping up, while the police were completely overwhelmed and inefficient, the courts were in total crisis, and corruption was just everywhere. And here is a number that shows just how broken that system really was. According to that same 2001 report, for every 100 crimes that were committed, only 3 of the people responsible actually ended up in jail. 3! That's a 97% chance of getting away with it. Think about that. That's not a justice system. That's practically an open invitation for chaos.
So how in the world did Poland turn this all around? Well, it wasn't some magic wand. It was a long, hard fight. A complete and total overhaul of the country's security and justice systems to basically take back the streets.
The work started pretty much as soon as communism fell. The old, deeply distrusted police force, the militia, was totally disbanded. But the real game changer, the thing that really shifted the momentum, was the creation of elite units like the Central Bureau of Investigation, or CBSP, back in 2000.
Now, this wasn't your average police force. The CBSP had one single focus mission: take down the country's most powerful and violent criminal organizations. They went straight for the big guys, the infamous Prushkov and Walami mafias, who were the symbols of that lawless era, and they started taking them apart piece by piece.
And the results? Well, they really do speak for themselves. Just look at the homicide rate. It's a super important indicator of violent crime. It plummeted from a high of 2.39 per 100,000 people in '94 all the way down to just 0.68 in 2022. That is a truly stunning turnaround.
So this massive internal cleanup is a huge piece of the puzzle. But some sources will tell you it's only half the equation. They point to another major factor in Poland's safety story, and this one has a lot more to do with its policies toward the outside world.
Okay, so take a look at this table. It's based on data compiled by the outlet Remix News, and it shows a correlation that they've observed. On one side, you have countries like Hungary and Poland, which the source describes as having strict migration policies, and they have incredibly low robbery rates. On the other, you have countries like Belgium and the UK, which the source describes as having more open policies, and the numbers are just dramatically higher.
And this particular viewpoint is something you hear from political leaders in the region. For example, that same source, Remix News, cites the Hungarian Prime Minister, Viktor Orbán, expressing a pretty similar thought when talking about the security situation in Western Europe.
So what we've got here are 2 really distinct explanations for Poland's incredible safety record. You have one story that's all about internal reform, cleaning house, and rebuilding the state. And then you've got another story that's about external policy and controlling who comes into the country.
When you boil it all down, it really seems to rest on these two pillars. First, that unbelievable internal transformation, rebuilding the police and the courts from the ground up to absolutely crush organized crime. And second, an external policy focused on strict border control, which some analysts directly connect to these low crime rates.
This all leaves us with a really big, fascinating question. For any country's safety, what's actually more important? Is it the internal work of fixing your own systems, or is it the external policy of controlling your borders? Is it possible that Poland's internal reforms only worked because of its external policies? Or was it the other way around? The story here really suggests it's a complicated mix of both.
So what do you think? Which factor do you believe was the key to Poland's transformation? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, if you found this explainer interesting, please don't forget to hit that like button, share it with a friend, and subscribe for more. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
Because of why I search the deep through endless nights, no time to sleep. The call inside I can't deny. I'll find the light because of